Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WSSEA 2024-25 fall season. We've got some exciting matchups for you here today, but first, I need to introduce the legend to my digital left here, Nerdy Bird. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to cast some Overwatch. It's players coming from my home state of Washington. That just makes it a little bit more exciting and close to home and my heart for me. So that is going to make this day just a little bit better. How about you?
Hey, I'm excited to be back in the booth with you. I know recently we got to do some extra life stuff, but this is a little more competitive style game, so it's certainly going to be a lot of fun. I know we have NEWTech versus Napavine, so unfortunately I don't know a lot about either of these teams, so it's really kind of hard to take a pick here. Maybe that first map here on Oasis will give us a little tale.
I think it will, especially because in general, I feel like control maps, because there's so many modes that are built around it. I mean, like Hybrid is half of a control map. I mean, it's King of the Hill on the objective point, and then even though we won't see it today, Clash is also technically along the same lines, and Flashpoint as well. So it's very telling of a team's type of playstyle, what type of comps we see originally, I feel like, on the King of the Hill map. So we'll have to wait and see what they pull out. I do know that the Ana Juno composition is really popular. Juno Lucio can also be. I've seen some teams running some Lifeweaver recently just for extra sustainability and kind of get the heck out of dodge type of abilities that save teammates. So we'll have to wait and see what type of playstyles we do end up with. And we're just taking a quick look at the lobby. It looks like most of these players are locked in and almost ready to go. As far as which map we end up on, I think that will be telling us which types of compositions we'll see. If it's Gardens, I suspect we'll probably see dive comps first.
Yeah, and I think one thing I do also like about high school is you don't always see the typical meta. Sometimes they just kind of play with the characters they're most comfortable with as well. So I think always trying to see the early compositions is always interesting for me.
I'm excited to see what they do cook up. I mean, I do respect teams that are willing to go against meta and play the composition that they want to play. I mean, if we think about it and we go back to the days of Owl, London Spitfire had their own composition. That was a Symmetra Bastion comp that was centered around a Reinhardt or a Malga, depending on the day and depending on the current state of the game. And that composition was kind of fitting a round peg in a square hole. It was the current state and then picking the off-meta heroes that were still powerful and making it work to their advantage. So perhaps we'll have some teams that do that here in this high school league. We are about to jump in here to our first map of Oasis, and so far we don't have any indicators as what okay, so we are ending up on Gardens. We could end up with either a brawl comp or a dive comp coming out from these squads.
Now, is there one that you favor on this map more than the other?
So it all depends on what one of your supports wants to play. If you have and I'm not putting this lightly, I feel like even with Juno in the game, a Lucio player is still so paramount. If you want to control that top high ground with a brawl comp, then you need to have a good main support player who's coming in on that Lucio, knows when to speed, and knows when to get a little bit too in the face of the enemy to boot them off that high ground. So if I see a Lucio with that confidence, then 100% I want to see a brawl comp go up there. But I think we talked about this before the broadcast, and that is the battle catalog having been buffed once we had those D-winners come through. So I'm getting some Orisa gameplay, and on the opposite side, Ghost Dragon is opting for that Malga. So we have very spammy compositions on both sides as far as frontline goes, but the speed that Juno brings to the table is going to be interesting considering there's a Bastion who may just try to thwart it going into turret mode from the other side.
Hey, I love some good Bastion play. I'm a kind of a Bastion main myself, so I like to see it in action. Maga certainly can be up in your face and very annoying, so it'll be interesting to see how both of these teams choose to utilize this composition as they both kind of head toward that mid. Control point's going to unlock here in 15, but the action about to start now.
The one scary thing about these comps is Maga's, it's a glass cannon style of composition with low healing coming out from Mercy and Zenyatta. You really have to baby whomever takes pressure first. Maga already coming in with the cardiac overdrive. We heard the shout get used. That's Orisa's go button, so she spear spins in. We use the overrun to try and use stomp damage on that Zen, but it's all for naught. Orisa's pulling all this attention away from her supports. However, she does end up getting eliminated instead. A little shock the Orisa fell. This just goes to show the amount of sustain that Maga does have.
Yeah, that Discord Orb can be so viable as well. Ghost Dragon's going to find the pick here on Godzilla as well, continuing to rain down a hailstorm of bullets with Gunny and Cha-Cha. And, of course, Mercy back here keeping the team afloat. Weapon is going to find not only one, but two on that Bastion. And, again, I love to see it.
You can see, though, Mercy is strictly using this yellow beam. We're not seeing a lot of blue beam, and that just goes to how this composition is going to be working out, which is a lot of the support line. Our Zenyatta gets to do damage, but our Mercy is not allowed to help facilitate anyone. Her goal is sustain, keep everyone alive as long as possible, and get that ult ready to go. Unfortunately, Godzilla translocates off the map, so that's going to be a reset for that squad, unfortunately, or a pullback and wait type of situation. Losing a DPS early is never fun, and it's never something that you want to go into down a player on the point.
Yeah, NEWTech there in red now taking the lead as well as they control this point. But again, just kind of waiting for them to regroup. You never want to find yourself staggering in here. They need to work off of this Orisa push, and Godzilla's going to find a big pick on Foxy here. This could give them the player advantage they need.
When you're down one player, you better opt to coin an ultimate if the enemy team starts engaging like we see now. I mean, the Moira just faded, and if we're looking at our red squad here on point, they should have hit that Zenyatta ultimate. Dying with trance as a Zen, especially when you have a Mercy who can pocket you, kind of not good. We have also Orbital Ray getting hit here from Astro, recognizing the opportunity to do extra damage with the Zenyatta getting resurrected, and it's working out swimmingly. That's 4 down. Mercy and Valkyrie trying to stay alive and get out. It's too little too late. Mystic Knight will also be sent back to the spot with the rest of their team.
Yeah, Meme Man and crew had to pop a few ults to get it, but Napavine able to regain control of this point and begin to pad some percentage on the top here as well. But again, I feel like I favor this composition from NEWTech just a little bit more. They're also going to be coming into this next fight with 2 ults and Maga very, very close to theirs as well.
Unfortunately for our other squad, they hit the Orbital Ray, they use Coalescence, they use Terror Surge, as well as Overclock. The only thing that they'll have ready is going to be EMP soon, but it doesn't matter. They find Ghost Dragon and Weapon Master very fast. We do have a Resurrection on Ghost Dragon with the elimination over onto Astro, so it might even up the playing field a little bit. But these Sombras, a little bit of Duel to Fates, that damage over time coming from the infection. The virus on Godzilla Hero from Godzilla Hero does work out, and now point is still in control currently. It hasn't flipped back, and we're getting equal. I think we just canceled Ghost Dragon's cage fight.
Yeah, just a great timing there with the spear as well. And Ghost Dragon, unfortunately, gets no value out of that ult. Zenyatta's going to fall here as well, so not going to be able to pop theirs. Just a few left standing. Missed it. Will get the res, though, onto the Zenyatta. Buy a little more time. Meanwhile, Bastion able to pick off Meme Man on that Sojourn. The hack come in as well. The spear is almost there. The Terror Surge raining down, but I don't think it's going to be enough. First to fall, Godzilla will find the trade onto Bastion now in a 4v4.
We're at 95% currently for NEWTech High School. Well, Napavine High School, honestly, this forcing out trans with EMP is great, but they can't just get off the point and regroup as opposed to trying to sustain here being down 1. I think the respawn has finally made it back to the objective, but they are leading as far as percentile goes. Soft resetting would have been advantageous. Instead, they're burning so many ultimates, and they just burned another one with Cool Cat. Ended up getting EMP'd. They do end up finding Foxy, but Cool Cat has fallen. Meme has also been eliminated. So at this point, truly, NEWTech should just reset.
Yeah, you know, they had a lot of success there initially, but again, kind of expending a lot of those ults. We see them having an advantage, but you never want to find yourself staggering, and especially when you do have that advantage at the moment, you have that higher percentage sitting at 99%. With that, though, NEWTech able to regain the hill. They still have another, maybe even another 2-fight territory here, though.
It depends on how quickly Napavine gets back in. If it's under under the 80% mark, then yes, they might be able to squeeze 2 in. But because they're staggering themselves in, well, they're holding out inside a hookah, waiting for the hyper ring to come through. That means we're in last fight territory. It's now or never for NEWTech to be able to reclaim this point. We're gonna end out probably at 99.99, but we see Godslayer, Astro both falling for Napavine very quickly. However, the resurrect comes through onto Weapon Master. Ghost Dragon did end up getting eliminated, so opting to not res our tank could be a death sentence, but we do see they had artillery strike from this Bastion. Could that be enough with that Discord orb and the supportal combat coming in from the Zenyatta? It might just be enough, but Moira has decided to come back into the objective, but did not deal with the Sombra fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just one of those do-or-die situations, trying to extend that fuse of overtime and buy some time for the team, unfortunately falling. And now with Godslayer going down as well, no tank in the mix, it's going to be incredibly tough for Napavine to kind of battle their way back into this point here. We'll see the time. The fuse will expire, and NEWTech able to take this first little sub-map.
I think it was a little telling, honestly, from Napavine how that last fight was going to go. I mean, we staggered out. There was enough time originally to do 2 fights when we were at 99% and the enemy team had just started to get the objective back in their favor. had we just opted to all die on the objective, do it fast, reset, get back out there, honestly, they could have had 2 fights, but instead it turned into 1 because we fought so long on the objective in a lost fight, burned all of our ultimates, and just handed over the ult economy advantage to NEWTech High School. I think that's where Napavine ended up struggling. Let's see if they do it again here. Honestly, also, I need Godslayer to recognize when they're getting discorded, walk away, and then come back, because it has a 6-second cooldown once you get discorded.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Not really kind of opting to break that line of sight there. And that Discord orb is just so dangerous. You really don't want to let it linger around for any amount of time. But you see both of these teams now pressuring toward the point. First fight about to happen here as NEWTech looks to find one. I'm not sure what happened. Meme Man slipping on a banana peel off the side here. And that'll be an early first and free pick as Cool Cat will go down as well. And Weapon Master just out here eating them alive. What was that, a 2-piece, I think? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and to anyone who's curious about that Discord orb, it means you need to position yourself really far forward early on in these fights and basically be like, ooh, Zenyatta, you want to Discord me. So then you're able to back off and get out of line of sight before the fight starts. That means you won't get discorded until midway through the fight. That's how you do it? Yeah, it seems like you're getting a little big for your britches, but that's kind of about what Overwatch is. You gotta have a little bit of an ego to T-pose on the enemy team, as we have Astro swinging in towards this mini pack, using their quick heal and doing a little bit of extra damage, but Spear Spin's being used to gain space. Sister Reset has lost all sustainability, managing to also force out the Fortify from Orisa, so Godslayer will end up getting eliminated.
Yeah, and just a plethora of kills coming up in the feed there as well. We saw Primal taking out God. Mystic was able to bring Foxy back into this battle here as well. Respawn's coming in, but the hill has already been controlled for nearly 50% at this point. NEWTech having a lot more success here in the second submap.
Weapon Master is hitting that aerial strike, but ends up getting eliminated by Meme Man midway through that animation. If a Bastion's ulting, yes, push them. That is a great call. Whomever ended up having that idea. Mystic Knight, our Mercy player, will also end up being eliminated. Cool Cat trying to do a little bit more damage for Napavine here. Maybe get up this Coalescence before the next fight. We're at 0. We're finally getting percents in our favor, and we hit the orbital ray. I think that was an over ult, unfortunately, from Napavine, because definitely would have been useful in this next fight in conjunction with Terra Surge.
Yeah, Terra Surge coming up. Currently have 2 other ults on deck and ready to flex. The Coalescence not too far away as well. But, I mean, on the other side of things, we've seen NEWTech already pad quite a bit of percentage there, so they're really going to have to lock it down. And Godslayer starting off with a big pick onto the Bastion could be huge. Mystic is going to fall on the Mercy as well, and this is exactly the fight they need.
With 2 being eliminated already, this is a fight 1 in favor of NEWTech. I mean, you just need to bring out the dustpan a little faster. You can stagger him out as long as you want, though. I will respect it, but the Mauga, you need a full commit. Moira, please, this is not a battle to take by yourself. Yes, Meme Man was there to assist using that disruption field, the orb coming through early, but Bastion, too far forward, is going to face the wrath of this Moira's Coalescence. Perhaps there is a support back there to help. We have EMP ready to go from Godzilla, is going to use the virus, gets out just barely out of the line of sight, as we have Bastion going into turret form to try and force pressure on the objective.
Trying to force pressure onto the objective, unable to really break this wall that has been Napavine, standing tall on the point here, about to tie it up and take the lead. And Cool Cat 60 coming in with a big 2-piece. I think Moira has kind of opted to go a little more for the damage role here, and it's certainly worked out for them, as Godslayer will come in and be the cleanup crew here on Mystic. And unfortunately for NEWTech, they're going to have to fall back once more and look to regroup.
Moira is going to use that purple damage beam, do a little bit more damage. I honestly thought Zenyatta survived, but Primal Wolf did end up getting eliminated in that moment. Now, looking at ult economy on both sides, we have Astra almost coming back with this orbital ray, the one that was hit too early in an overzealous fight. So we'll be at 3 check marks to 3 check marks, but honestly, I think orbital ray needs to be hung onto in this moment just to counteract one of the other enemy ultimates coming through. But unfortunately, we don't end up actually needing it. Instead, 67%, we don't get another touch on the objective, so we're tied 1 aside.
Yeah, I mean, Napavine just doing a great job of coming back, being able to turn this around in that second submap here. And honestly, they struggled a little bit initially. We saw NEWTech come in with that 67% off rip, but once they were able to gain control of that hill, they did a great job of locking it down and making sure to win those fights. And I think Moira happened to be a big difference maker in that.
I think so. Honestly, Moira is, as much as I love Moira gameplay. I missed the days of goats in case anyone can't tell. Really, the game, the style of playing is highly punishable because you have to think about Moira's healing as being a resource. She is one of the few characters in the game that, in order to do what you're designed to do, which is the healing, you have to do damage. So if you're doing enough damage to someone on the team, that Moira is unable to do damage to your squad. They're stuck healing, then they have to go do damage. We are not punishing this Moira off of her fades like most teams would be. Look for the cooldown, then go after her. Force the cooldown, then go after her. Instead, we're using ours first before we force out any other ultimates, i.e. Bastion's turret form already used.
Turret form has already gone down. We see Meme on this Sojourn here, looking to pepper in some shots. Mauga dashing in now as well, trying to create a wrench in that backline, peppering in the shots, but not really able to chip away. The heal's too much right now as the sustain, and we see Orisa pushing forward, battling with Mauga a bit back and forth here now, but unfortunately having to get caught in the reload. Cool Cat 60 is going to find Foxy for the first pick.
We're up by 1, but we cannot claim that we've won the fight just yet. But Mystic Knight, the person that has to be committed to the healing, no damage boost in sight right now, honestly, is what's giving them this Valkyrie so fast. This Valkyrie could be what wins the fight, especially because we've lost our Zenyatta. Our checkmark's ready to go. We're down healing. It's time to commit with an ultimate because this Moira is just going to be doing more and more damage with the lack of healing that your team will be producing. Unfortunately, though, we lose Ghost Dragon. Bastion will hit the artillery strike, and it takes down. We see Mystic Knight go down to the spear, and Godzilla unfortunately go down to the Bastion ult.
Yeah, Cool Cat's going to pick up Bastion here with that Coalescence as well, so able to sustain and win out yet again another fight. Napavine this time will be the first to take control of the hill, and it looks like as far as the ults go on the blue side here, on the Napavine side, they're getting pretty close for 3 extra ults on top of the Orisa Terra Surge.
I need to also stress the importance of winning the first fight on the objective. That's why I'm praying that we saw that Mercy ultimate come through the Valkyrie, because the team that wins the first fight has a 30% higher chance of actually winning the map as a whole. So unfortunately, losing first fight, not losing Valk, and now unfortunately we've also lost our Zen. Our Mercy is trying to find the opportunity, I think, to resurrect the Zen, but is also opting to stay in the air to try and make sure the attention is split as much as possible is advantageous. But here we see the Terra Surge after the overrun comes through from Mauga, and Mauga unfortunately gets eliminated. So this is another situation for a team to call it and back out.
Yeah, it's just a tough situation to be in. They're going to lose Bastion on the back pedal here as well, and if they don't back out soon, they're going to find themselves being a bit staggered. Foxy's going to fall now, Mystic Knight as well, and everybody getting a piece of action on this Napavine side.
Primal, walk away. The only reason why I say walk away is because we're not spamming anywhere. And though we can see a Sombra outline, this player cannot see the Sombra while she's in invis. And so if the Sombra decided to eliminate Primal Wolf before everyone else caught up, then this could have been theoretically the absolute last fight, and we would have gone in a 4v5. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen. But for anyone who wants to learn Overwatch, if you're Zen, don't push up by yourself when there's a Sombra on the field.
I will take note and remember that here as we see a few ults on deck. And again, they're going to have to find a way to get some pressure in here. They have the Mauga ult. Zen is here as well with that Transcendence. They're going to utilize them together as they continue to push in. Artillery not too far off here from Bastion, but already 93% on the board. And this is going to be a tough comeback.
A cage fight gets dropped by Ghost Dragon, and instead of hitting EMP, which we have, which counters it perfectly, we instead have to use our Orbital Ray, and because we end up losing people, we on top of that have to hit Coalescence. I think that was just a bad counterplay that was utilized. Still, somehow, Cool Cat in conjunction with Godslayer are still managing to keep things alive, but it would have been a lot smoother with one ultimate. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I guess it's as long as you win, that's the important part, but certainly not wrong as they are able to get it. And after losing that first sub-map as well, able to get 2 in a row, we'll take a look at the play of the game here from Astro. What are your thoughts on Juno, Nerdy Bird?
Okay, so Juno causes a pain in my heart, and that is because if it isn't obvious to anyone, I love Lucio gameplay. Like I mentioned, if there's a team with a Lucio player that's confident, you take it up to the high ground and you go for Boop City. It's a real fun game, but it's also very dangerous. The thing when it comes to Juno is that her kit's built around speed. Well, guess who else has a kit that's built around speed? That's Lucio. And so she fills the need for a Lucio, and I feel like her ultimate is it's a damage boost and on top of healing. So it is a Mercy Valkyrie that is happening at the exact same time as damage boosting and healing. So it's basically Valk with nano boost or for every single player that is in the beam. So I think her kit is insanely powerful when in the right hands, and I think she makes it so my favorite hero is obsolete. Granted, will it always stay that way? Probably not. We all know how these games go when we introduce a new hero. They get to be super powerful for a bit of time, and then we're going to see it drop off for a bit. So for now, I will accept that my frog boy gets thrown in jail for a bit, and that some Lucio mains aren't stuck playing Lucio, like, forever. But, I mean, I love the dynamicism of her kit. I do agree with some voices that came forward early saying she's too powerful, but of course at the end of the day, that's what checks and balances is for in a game. She'll get nerfed eventually, but right now it is her time to shine, so we're going to probably see a heck of a lot more of her.
Well, her time to shine. Napavine's time to shine as well. They've already got one dub in a bag. It's only a best of 3 as we head into King's Row, so they only have to get one more. But while we do have a free moment, I want to take a moment to shout out NEWTech Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks for their incredible support. We're able to bring this broadcast to all of you and kind of showcase the amazing talent here in Scholastic Esports. So make sure you guys show your appreciation. Make those posts online using hashtag powered by NEWTech or hashtag NEWTechUSA. You can always type !NEWTech in chat for more info.
All right, so it is NEWTech High School who got to pick the map. They, of course, picked King's Row. What team doesn't pick King's Row for Hybrid, I don't know. There's a reason why it's nicknamed Scrims Row. Now, on the flip side of that, that did mean Napavine got to pick which side they wanted to start on, attack or defense, and they actually opted for defense, which is extremely smart. Again, it just means you have a higher probability of winning if you start on hybrid maps as the defensive squad. You also technically are involved directly with setting the win condition. If you have a hard time, the win condition is going to be get all 3 points and play for OT. But if you hold them here, then your win condition is a lot easier than theirs, and that's just get 33%. Now, that being said, we see a very similar composition coming out from both these squads. No changes. The question is, what adjustments are the teams going to be making based off of what they saw on the previous map?
Yeah, this first initial little choke point here as well can be tough to get by. It's always interesting to see how teams opt to tackle this first little section here as well. We take a look and kind of being a little more slow and methodical, not pressuring in past this point here. If you get caught off guard, it can be dangerous. So somehow Ghost Dragon, though, finding this pick onto me, man, and it could give them the slight advantage they need here.
We're slowly making our way past that choke point. I appreciate a Sombra that actually goes around and hacks the health packs near their team because that's part of your kit. It's to help you survive and it's to help your team survive, especially if you have a resource-based support like Moira. Now, Astro, unfortunately, will get stomped on by the overrun, so we're down 1 support currently, and Godslayer will be eliminated. With everyone else having to back off the objective, we do lose sight of our backline a little bit here and end up losing 2 players. It's Moira and Sombra in tandem with each other, trying to take care of the remaining players still here on the objective. I don't think it'll be enough, but it might pull enough attention for the team to actually make it back, maybe stop them right before pull cap occurs.
Yeah, it's nice to have they have a little bit closer of a spawn here, but Godzilla and CoolCat60 finding big picks, and now Ghost Dragon's going to go down as well. They couldn't even get the second tick there on that payload, so unfortunately, not quite as much success as it looked like it appeared to be in the beginning. We saw Ghost kind of bust in there, find some good picks. Bastion in the backline finding some picks as well, but Maga just kind of forgetting about that backline a little bit.
Yeah, respect to Godzilla in that moment to go in the backline and get these hacks off, because no one is spy checking. That is literally, I kid you not, spinning in circles or spamming different corridors where the Sombra could be, spam behind you every couple of seconds. We hear the Terror Surge also from Godslayer get hit just now. It might have been a misclick because I'm pretty sure we did that from the objective. But yeah, you spy check by spraying random areas that people can walk through to try and get the Sombra out of invis. We kind of out of sight, out of mind Sombras a lot, and that is exactly why you can't do that, because the Moira came in with Godzilla. It was CoolCat and Godzilla that literally re-won that point for our defensive team.
Yeah, she's one of those characters that is a nuisance for me. I think I struggle with a little bit as well, as we see Bastion popping their artillery form. Not a lot of success there as well. Primal has that transcendence here as well. Potentially could see it come out. We do, as Maga is dangerously low and going to be right back into fighting shape here as they continue to pressure this point, but still stuck on that first tick at the moment.
Orbital Ray comes in as soon as we hit the Hyper Ring in conjunction with one another. Valkyrie's hit in response, but we've already lost 2 players by the time we hit that Valk. It might have been better off being saved, but Mercy will manage to use it to make it out alive and just wait out for the rest of the team to come back. So preventing the stagger on yourself is actually a great call. Unfortunately, Foxy got themselves staggered.
Yeah, you know, it's just as we go to say something, they gotta prove us wrong, and Foxy getting caught off guard there, unfortunately. And again, luckily the spawn isn't atrociously far, as they haven't been able to push up too far here. But again, it's just no fun being down a member. We see Godzilla has fallen on the other side of things, and this potentially could be an opportunity. Weapon Gods now finding one weapon back and forth, able to get a second one as Astro will finally extinguish that flame that is Bastion. Foxy will get another, and Mystic able to bring Primal back into this one.
Ghost Dragon hitting Cage Fight just to take care of the Orisa was very targeted. Again, I respect it. I appreciate that type of gameplay. Considering the Mercy needed to get the Resurrection online and was in a dangerous situation in order to do it, but needs their Zen, it made sense. Now, Point has flipped, but Coolcat is very bloodthirsty. Hits the Coalesce. It's Primal Wolf, the person I feel like has taken the blunt force of most of the enemy team's anger this entire game. Unfortunately, will be the first eliminated, followed by Weapon Master. So this is a lost fight. Mercy gets a little bit extra ult charge, but also ends up getting eliminated.
Yeah, Moira is just being a menace in this backline as well. And again, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but I'm surprised that they're not punishing that fade or baiting that fade out and then punishing it as much. It's one way to kind of deal with Moira when she's being a nuisance up near that front line like that. But unfortunately, we just really quite haven't seen that happen yet.
Not to mention that Moira is one of the best, if not the best counters as far as not a tank. Because like D.Va counters Sombra pretty nicely as well because of the amount of spam D.Va can do. But Moira as a support line, Moira and Brig are direct counters to Sombra. And personally, I think Moira is more powerful than Brigitte. So punishing that would make Foxy's life easier. As we hear EMP from Foxy, Transcendence getting hit, Godzilla's EMP getting hit. And we hear Overclock as a last-ditch effort from Meme Man to try and push back this enemy squad with Moira dumping gallons of healing resource onto this onto Sojourn to keep them alive. It's probably not going to work with 4 players looking at yet. Coolcat, I don't know if you're making it out either.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they sustained that long with just the 2 of them. But Coolcat here kind of flirting with disaster, hanging around dangerously close, and had used that fade initially to get away there. And again, we didn't see any type of charge coming out, any aggression to punish that fade. So Moira able to dip back to safety here and continue to be an asset to the squad.
And look at this. Moira throws a healing orb forward, fades into the front line of their team, and manages to get out scot-free. If we just gave a little bit more attention to her, she would definitely be punished, and taking away that much healing would be devastation for that squad. Moira, you are playing with fire. You know you are. One of these days, it's going to bite you.
A lot of risk, but a lot of reward today here for Moira as they are up in front in face of the action here, looking to just pepper in some more damage from a distance as well. And honestly, 30 seconds isn't a ton of time here, so they're really going to have to try to make a strong push, most likely the last solid team fight that they'll have here to find this first checkpoint.
And we see Cage Fight getting hit just to try and give us this opportunity to get more of our ults online, but Bastion was outside the Cage Fight and actually gets pulled into Terror Surge, does end up surviving, and because of Primal be inside of that shield, they take down 1. Aerial Strike's gonna take down 2. We hit the Valk as a contingency plan, but now I think we need to be hitting that blue beam and pushing really far forward to make sure no one has the opportunity to hit this objective, and we're utilizing as much as possible because it was the last ult hit in this fight.
Yeah, Orisa was stuck with that Discord orb on them for quite some time, chipped away, and now the overtime fuse is lit, but it looks like they might be able to make it here. Just a meter to go, and they will put another minute and 30 back on the clock here as they're hanging on by a thread.
Transcendence is being utilized as well to sustain us through this situation because we've lost our Orisa. I think our defensive squad is going to have to back off because of it, but Moira, again, coming into the front line, is being our tank when we don't have a tank. Will manage to survive, I think, and also take down Primal Wolf, so it allows Juno to come forward, swing wide with the rest of the crew. We see the Resurrection come through. It might be an opportunity now for that Moira to disengage because Orisa is back. We go in with the EMP and immediately start hitting the gas pedal again.
Right back to the gas pedal. Cool Cat finds 3 in the mix as well. Meme Man's going to get 2 of their own. Foxy was able to extinguish the flame that has been Cool Cat amongst the mix, but so much damage had already been done, and now just 35 seconds left on the clock.
It's enough time to get in, but really, right here, see, this is what I'm talking about, spy checking. The Sombra was standing there, and no one is spam. We just saw her hack. If we had just been shooting, we could have called her out earlier, and, well, I mean, you know what? You accidentally threw your translocator off the map and then got punished for it. So there was an opportunity for you to rekindle that health back, especially with a little help from Bastion. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, Weapon Master, I think, got 2 there. Foxy's going to get 1 now as well. We'll see that overtime fuse lit once more. They're getting ever so close to this final destination, and we can see Godzilla's going to find 1 here in the mix. Weapon able to find that trade back and forth as they continue to push the payload. Now up in the face, Cool Cat once again with a coalescence, able to find not 3, but 4 huge picks.
Truly, I mean, we've got a spam comp built out for Napavine right now. They need to just be spamming constantly. Your accuracy does not matter, but this Sombra is calling their hacks because it's really obvious that Sombra is, because when Sombra's ready to go, you see the hack go off, and guess who else is there? Guess who's throwing an orb and going in? Moira. It's getting called. So if we're spamming out the Sombra, which our composition is built to do, she's not going to find that value. If they do that, then the 2 most powerful players currently that they're dealing with from NEWTech are going to be shut down.
Yeah, I feel like they just have to find a way to pay more attention to this Moira just being up in the face like that. And again, not getting punished for those fades. They made it almost all the way, but again, not quite there. So I feel like it'll be interesting to see how well they're able to make on this first push.
No adjustments on either side. We're really... I'm enjoying the Moira Sombra gameplay. It's not entirely meta, but we talked about this before the show, before we fully went into these matches, that, you know, you don't always need to be playing meta. Both these teams are demonstrating that, but really it's understanding the power of your comp versus the enemy comp that allows you to play against the meta, or play outside of it, so to speak. So let's see if we start utilizing our composition strikes here, coming from both squads, I feel like.
And already meeting at the gate, the Bastion Fire. Mauga's going to dash in here as well, kind of put themselves in a dangerous position away from the team, but we see the heals coming in from Moira as well, and Moira just not afraid to get up in that action. Mystic is going to find the res on Primal. Godzilla able to find the pick on Mystic, though, and now without the healer and the tank, it's going to be tough to make the push.
Well, a Cool Cat is having the time of their life, honestly,
Yes.
and is able to follow up on every little bit of damage that's occurring. Truly, Moira, are you having a good day? I already know that she got play of the game. I promise you that much. The coalescence at the very end of the first half, she got play of the game. So let's just keep watching what she's doing, because she's right behind her tank right now, but was the first in front, and she's in front again. Mauga has charged past her, and she is still in the back line of the enemy team. No one is paying attention to this Moira.
Yeah, you know, it must be a great day to be Moira, because certainly having a field day, putting on a little clinic out here, has some great assets on the team. But Meme Man will find a pick. Godslayer gets Ghost Dragon here as well, and honestly, they didn't have much trouble, much resistance here grabbing this payload, so it makes me a little bit worried for the rest of this this map.
We also see that we have a swap away from, well, Foxy was on Sombra, now Foxy's opted to go to Venture. They're a very brawly composition type of hero. They're not very spammy, but again, understanding the strengths of everybody's players and who they counter well, Venture does not do well against a handful of characters. One of them is Sombra when it comes to DPS, and the other one is Cassidy. They will punish Venture very heavily, so Foxy needs to be very careful going into this, and unfortunately, we've already lost both our supports. We're hitting the overclock right now to ensure that this fight is cleaned up quickly. That is everyone eliminated except for one, and yeah, there goes Weapon Master as well.
Yeah, you might as well call Napavine the janitors, because they are the cleanup crew, and they are coming through. 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock for them to just get a little bit further. 52 meters, I think, is all it takes. And honestly, I don't foresee them having too much trouble unless something crazy happens. Foxy now on the Pharah.
Moira already hitting that coalescence. We hear the artillery strike on payload. Juno's just gonna back off. I don't think it did too much damage to anybody. Napavine right now is currently down one. We see the Terror Surge is inside of a cage. It takes down Primal Wolf, and Moira faded into the cage. I think that's the first instance of really that Moira being punished that we've seen thus far. But finally, NEWTech is finding their footing a little bit. Will be able to start pushing back Napavine, but no one has scouted out the Sombra.
Yeah, just hiding in the corner now, back into the mix though, and has to be careful here. Maga and Bastion will certainly throw a hailstorm of bullets your direction as Napavine backing off to a safer location. The team has regrouped, and Cool Cat's going to find Maga here without a tank. It's going to be incredibly tough. Mercy maybe needs to find a way to sneak in the res, but it's going to be tough. They're doing a great job of eating up all this space.
We lose Mercy, we lose Bastion, and Foxy has made another swap over towards the May, but I think it's too little too late. We're gonna hit the orbital array as Maga comes charging through to touch the objective, but the payload continues to move on, and with that, Napavine will take the win.
Napavine does it in two, and honestly, I mean, we saw some moments of greatness from both teams. That control point first one was a little bit closer as well, but I think Napavine just kind of falling into their stride once they got into that gameplay. They really didn't slow down, and you're absolutely right about Cool Cat here, by the way. We'll take a look at the play of the game and that coalescence, and honestly, certainly, maybe the MVP, certainly a big playmaker today, but it just seems like NEWTech didn't have an answer for that Moira, and unfortunately, they just weren't able to handle it today.
Look for the fade, punish the fade. It's a lot of players don't recognize how squishy Moira actually can be, and genuinely it's cooldown usage. And just next time you see it in game, call it out and see if your team can immediately look at the Moira, because there's nothing they'll be able to do to survive. That is my nugget of wisdom of the day regarding how to deal with Moira players. Punish the fade, because I cannot tell you how many times I'm playing Overwatch and my partner's playing against me and I hear him go, "Nerdy Bird has no fade," and I'm on Moira and I'm hiding. Like, I'm not with my team. They hunt you down when they find out you don't have fade. Like, that's all you have to do is force a good cooldown and run after somebody. That's how you can handle a lot of these pesky players in Overwatch.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you punish them. Unfortunately, that wasn't the key today. Obviously, it's only week one, though. These teams have plenty of time to kind of develop these strengths throughout the regular season. It's always fun to watch these teams grow throughout the regular season as well. But I do want to take a quick moment to thank LANFest as well for building healthy communities through gaming. With 23 different chapters across 18 states, there's over 150 different events a year. And you can always find an event near you just by going to lanfest.com.
And I do believe with that, are we done today, Hot Sauce? Between
Yeah,
the two of us?
just the one match for today. Unfortunately, that is going to be all for Nerdy Bird and I. We will remind everybody there is Street Fighter 6 tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time. But of course, we want to take a moment to thank everybody behind the scenes, from Connie, Jade, and Taylor, help making the show run so smoothly. Obviously, all of you supporting in chat, whether it's the teachers, the students, the parents, we certainly appreciate each and every one of you. But that is all for us tonight. We hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific.